Tricked into an engagement, my entire family erupted, overturning the whole party. Relatives invited us to a banquet. Halfway through the meal, I was aghast to realize it was my own engagement ceremony. Aunt Lily's face beamed as she declared, "This is a surprise gift for you, Lena. How do you like it?" I stood there, dumbfounded, my mind completely blank. My mother glared furiously, grabbing my collar and pulling me up, grinding her teeth. "Are you mute? Didn't you hear your aunt ask if you're happy?" My mother looked like a raging tigress. I was so scared my face turned pale, almost on the verge of tears. Seeing me so weak-willed only infuriated her more. She shot a sidelong glance at Aunt Lily, then gave a sarcastic laugh. "My apologies, my daughter is still young and naive. She probably forgot she has an aunt so good that she's overbearing." After saying this, she sneered contemptuously. "You asked her if she's happy, right? Let me answer for her." "Happy? Not a chance. But doing this will certainly make her happy right away." Before my mother even finished speaking, Aunt Lily was still dazed, not understanding what was happening. Immediately, my mother used all her strength to flip the entire banquet table. "What now? Did you think my daughter was a piece of merchandise, to be arranged however you please? Engagement, bullying, get out of my sight, all of you." Our family only had one daughter, cherished like a delicate egg from birth. As soon as I graduated from college, the matchmakers in the village started buzzing like ants. They all wanted to play matchmaker. My parents had to politely refuse them time and again, giving the excuse that I had just started working and needed to focus on my career. But when it came to Aunt Lily, my parents were at a loss. That day, my aunt sweet-talked them. "Don't worry, my dear brother and sister-in-law, Lena is my niece too. I watched her grow up, how could I bear to see her suffer? As for the groom's family, there's no need to even discuss it, they're top tier. 5 houses on the main street, 3 or 4 shops for rent. And the boy is a civil servant with a stable job. If Lena marries into that family, she'll live a life of luxury." My father thought, "She's my own sister. She wouldn't harm my daughter." Besides, Aunt Lily had hinted many times before, and a blunt refusal would damage their sibling relationship. So, my father turned to ask for my opinion. Not wanting to make things difficult for him, I reluctantly agreed to go on a blind date the next day. Ha ha, what happened in the end? That day, Charles and I met at a cafe. The moment he stepped in, I wished I could disappear instantly. However, out of respect for my aunt, I gritted my teeth and stayed. He extended his hand to initiate a conversation. "Lena, is that you? I'm Charles." I forced a smile, deliberately turning my face away to avoid looking at his shiny, bald head like a deflated ball. It was truly dazzling. On top of that, his front teeth were sparse. 9 out of 10 sentences he uttered sounded like a hiss, wheezing like a punctured tire, as if his upper and lower lips had swapped places. I spoke up. "I have a meeting soon. Perhaps we could talk another time?" He immediately blocked my path, feigning politeness. "A meeting on a Sunday? I'm treating you to coffee today." As soon as he finished speaking, I quickly grabbed 2 napkins and discreetly wiped away the saliva that had sprayed onto my face. "You don't need to try so hard to pronounce coffee. You might spray it all out." He didn't understand my sarcasm, snapping his fingers to call the waiter. "Excuse me, could you bring me one of each of your best, most expensive coffees?" I pouted, secretly glancing at the waitress. She looked just as weary as I did, muttering, "Country bumpkin," under her breath. I forced a laugh and pretended to go to the restroom. When I returned, the table was covered with various coffees. Charles still looked dissatisfied. I politely asked, "Is something wrong?" He grumbled. "1 cup of coffee costs that much? Over 40 yuan a cup?" I laughed a tearful laugh, nodding, unsure what else to say. Then I casually picked up the latte in front of me and took a sip. He let out a loud snort, then picked up his Americano, took a gulp, and immediately, before he could even swallow, he spat the coffee directly onto my handbag. Gritting my teeth, I tried to suppress the rising anger, pulling out tissues to wipe my bag. Meanwhile, that obnoxious man loudly berated the waitress. "What kind of disgusting coffee is this? Is this even real? I'm not drinking it, give me my money back. This definitely isn't genuine civet coffee." "I didn't see any civets in your cafe." The waitress, wiping saliva from her face, went to call the manager. I truly couldn't take it anymore. While he was arguing heatedly with the manager, I quickly ran straight home. No sooner had I reached home than his message arrived. "I'm sorry, perhaps I was a bit too hasty this time. I'll definitely make it up to you next time. Oh, and the coffee you drank cost 45 yuan. What a waste, you didn't even finish it." I clearly understood what he was trying to do. I transferred exactly 45 yuan to him and without hesitation blocked his number. Afterward, I recounted everything that had happened that day to my parents, asking them to tell Aunt Lily. That man was truly unacceptable. However, I couldn't have imagined what happened next. After a week of work, Aunt Lily personally came to find me, saying there was an important family event and she wanted me to attend. Initially, I thought it was someone's baby shower or a wedding, but to my shock, it turned out to be my own engagement party. As my aunt led me to the entrance of the village, I saw Charles from afar. He was wearing a suit, standing amidst the crowd, looking ridiculously conspicuous, truly ostentatious. He even deliberately tucked a handkerchief into his breast pocket, utterly overdoing it. The moment he saw me, he raised his eyebrows in greeting and even blew me a kiss, utterly tasteless. I truly didn't want to see his face, not even for a second. I turned to my aunt and said, "I don't know anyone here. Why don't I go home? I have a lot of work at the bank." But my aunt seemed not to hear anything, completely ignoring my words. She gripped my hand tightly and dragged me towards the village restaurant. The rough stone path, coupled with my high heels, made my feet ache. Charles saw me coming and rushed out to greet me. "You look so pretty today, even wearing high heels. How do you like my suit? Handsome, right?" I couldn't even bother to reply. What was I wearing? This was my bank uniform, and the office shoes were also a bank requirement. If I didn't wear them, my salary would be deducted. Seeing the atmosphere grow tense, my aunt quickly intervened. "Beautiful, very beautiful. Our Charles truly has a handsome figure, everything suits him." Then she looked at Charles and me from head to toe, saying suggestively, "Looking at you two, you make a handsome couple, don't you? A talented man and a beautiful woman." I turned my face away, just in time to see my parents. I quickly pulled my hand free from my aunt's grasp and walked straight towards them. I asked my mother, "Whose party is it that you have to go to, Mom? Are they very close for me to have to come here too? Is it a wedding or a funeral?" My mother stiffened at my barrage of questions. She said she wasn't sure, that everything was arranged by my aunt. My aunt was naturally a busybody, handling almost all the major and minor affairs in the family, so I didn't ask anything further. When the restaurant was almost full of guests, my aunt approached me. Enthusiastically, she said, "Lena, come sit with your aunt. Brother, sister-in-law, you two come sit here too." I was awkwardly pulled to a table where Charles was sitting. I intended to leave, but my aunt held my hand tightly, not letting go. Moreover, everyone around us was familiar, and my parents were also reluctant to make a scene, so they reluctantly sat down. Then my aunt began her speech. She kept repeating vague, roundabout statements, the main point being that today was an auspicious day and everyone had gathered together. After speaking, she waved her hand for the food to be served and sat down. I thought I could leave after eating, so I enthusiastically picked up food. But I didn't expect that the more I ate, the woman sitting next to me kept giving me red envelopes. I kept eating, and she kept giving, smiling at me, looking very fond. I asked, "Auntie, what should I call you?" I've been away at school for so long that I don't remember all my aunts and uncles. The woman seemed delighted by this. "Oh my, I adore this girl so much. You want to change your address so soon?" I frowned, a premonition that something was wrong. Immediately after, a jade bracelet was forced onto my hand. She said, "Just call me Mom. That's enough." I was completely stunned. I quickly stood up and ran to hide behind my mother. My aunt, seeing that the cat was out of the bag, no longer bothered to pretend. She stood tall and announced, "Lena is engaged." I was shocked. "Engaged to what? What do you mean, Aunt?" My aunt sneered, imitating scenes from movies, tapping her chopsticks against a wine glass and loudly declared, "Today is the engagement ceremony of our Lena and the young master of the Charles family. Let's all raise our glasses." Smack, before the congratulations could even be fully uttered, my mother threw a chicken head across the table. "Congratulations, my foot!" She glared, grabbed my collar, pulled me out, and yelled, "Are you mute? Didn't you hear your aunt ask if you're happy?" My mother was known for her unpredictable temper, and I was so scared I felt like crying. Sensing my weakness, my mother's anger flared again. She shot a sidelong glance at my aunt, then feigned warmth. "Oh, how embarrassing." The child is still young and naive. She must have forgotten she has such a worthless aunt. As soon as she finished speaking, she curled her lip in a sneer. "She asked if she's happy, didn't she? Let me tell you, she's not happy at all. But perhaps doing it this way will make her happier." The words had barely left my mother's lips when my aunt was still bewildered. Immediately, my mother used all her strength to overturn the entire table, yelling as she did so, "What now?" Did you think my daughter was a piece of merchandise for you all to arrange as you please? This ridiculous engagement party, get out of my sight, all of you." After scolding them, my mother pulled my hand, intending to leave, but my aunt felt she had lost face and absolutely refused to let us go. So, she loudly declared in front of everyone, "Sister-in-law, I'm not talking about you. Lena is 23 years old now, almost 30. If she doesn't hurry up and get married, all the good matches will be taken. I introduced Charles to Lena because I consider us family." My mother was already disgusted with Aunt Lily and didn't even bother to respond. She just motioned for my father to step in. My father then came forward, feigning reconciliation, waving his hand at my aunt and saying, "Lily, our Lena is still young. There's no need to rush, no need to rush. Oh, but isn't your Sarah also of marrying age? She's a few years older than Lena. How about we let Sarah get to know Charles instead?" As soon as she heard her own daughter being brought into it, my aunt exploded. "Our Sarah is busy studying for her master's degree. She doesn't have time for dating. Lena graduated from college. Her education only goes so far. She has no bright future. If she doesn't get married quickly and change her fate, she'll only be a lowly bank employee her whole life." My father wasn't angry at all. He just replied with a cutting remark. "Is it possible, Aunt, that you're so enthusiastically pushing this match for the Charles family to secure a position under Mr. Charles for your son, Brian? I heard your Brian is about to graduate from vocational school. Are you planning to sacrifice our Lena to pave the way for him?" With her intentions exposed, my aunt's face turned beet red, but she absolutely refused to admit it, determined to argue endlessly. Unfortunately, my father is over 1.8 meters tall and weighs over 90 kilograms, with a large, strong build. As soon as he stood in front of her, his deep voice resonated with heavy authority. "Lily, if you interfere in my Lena's affairs again, don't blame me for disregarding our family ties. You should know better than to cause trouble and then expect me to clean up your mess." With that, my father casually pushed over another table, flipping it with ease. Then he turned to an old man leading a scabby dog, who was scavenging for leftovers, and said, "Delicious food like this is better given to dogs than to people like you. How dare you trick our family of 3 so painfully? From now on, don't even greet me if we meet in the village. You disgust me." This time, we truly left the restaurant. As I passed the woman who had forced the bracelet on me, I quickly took it off and returned it. But she still wouldn't let go, forcing a strained smile and saying to me, "You and my family are fated, dear. If it won't come off, just consider it yours. Don't worry, I won't let you suffer any loss." I quickly looked at my mother for help. My mother immediately grabbed my wrist and slammed it hard against the edge of the table. Crack. The bracelet shattered into pieces. The aunt was heartbroken by the loss, quickly sitting down to pick up the fragments. "Oh, my heirloom bracelet, my heart aches," my mother snorted coldly. "Shopee special, 3 for 50,000. I thought the troubles my aunt caused had ended there, but I couldn't believe she even brought Charles to chase me all the way to the entrance of the bank where I worked. She even yelled loudly, "Lena, the Charles family genuinely wants you to be part of their family. They value you greatly. Even if we don't rush into an engagement, you two should spend more time getting to know each other. Do you remember how your parents made such a scene at the restaurant that day?" Yet not a single complaint came from the Charles family. Finding a man with such a forgiving heart is truly rare these days. What more could you ask for? I took a deep breath. My father once told me that once this aunt set her sights on something, she would absolutely achieve it. The Charles family must have promised her something. Otherwise, she wouldn't be wasting her efforts like this. I decided to use the method my father taught me. There's no need to be polite. After all, the relationship between my family and my aunts was never very close. If she was going to exploit me, there was no reason for me to maintain that fake relationship. So, I immediately called security. When we returned, she was still standing at the main gate, shouting, "Tell me, what's wrong with Charles? Why do you keep refusing him? Or do you have some unspoken illness?" I was truly speechless. She was willing to do anything to achieve her goal, clearly wanting to tarnish my reputation. Her words seemed to encourage Charles. Hearing them, the smug, petty expression on his face became clear. Not only did he puff out his flat chest, but he also shimmied his small shoulders and stuck his chin up to the sky. I was so angry I laughed. "All right, you want my opinion, right? I'm the best at judging people's character. So, both of you listen carefully." I raised an eyebrow and began. Saying you're 1.58 meters tall is probably an exaggeration. You're probably only 1.4 meters, aren't you? If I wear high heels, I'd be afraid of stepping on you. Your face is as sickly as a toad preserved in oil, both ugly and terrifying. Even gapped teeth aren't as bad as yours. You talk like you're urinating, trying to disgust people. Oh, and you have no hair, no eyebrows, a small nose, crossed eyes, one ear big and one ear small, thick lips, a head like a walnut, one look, and you know you're not a good person. As for that asterisk of yours, I truly don't see asterisk it anywhere. Why? Is it invisible? It's probably not even as long as my fingernail. And your pants don't even bulge. Is it tucked between your legs, or did you take it out and stuff it behind you? HMPH, look at your useless appearance, don't get off on pinching yourself, you. As soon as I finished, my aunt froze. Charles's face turned scarlet with rage. Immediately, he flew into a frenzy, raising his hand to scratch my face. I hid behind the security guard, looking down at him. Did I hit a nerve? Then don't blame me, my aunt told me to point out your flaws. You should blame my aunt for her poor judgment. Do your flaws even need to be pointed out? Who do you think you are that my aunt hasn't seen before? She's protective of her own daughter, yet heartlessly harms me. What an aunt I have, indeed. The relationship between my family and my aunts was effectively severed, but my aunt was not one to give up easily. To create job opportunities for her son, she changed her approach. She started paying attention to a girl who worked in the same office as me. Perhaps during the scene at the bank gate, Charles had secretly taken an interest in her, which is why he asked my aunt to play matchmaker. However, my aunt didn't know the girl, so she came to me repeatedly, hoping I would act as an intermediary. But I knew exactly what kind of person Charles was. I couldn't get involved in such an immoral matter, so I always ignored my aunt's words. Until one day, my aunt organized another party, and this time I couldn't refuse because it was for Grandma Rose's 80th birthday. The whole family had to gather. Arriving at the hotel, the familiar scene unfolded again. From afar, I saw Charles. Still in his black suit, the grease stains from the previous meal still visible on his white collar. Seeing me, he gave a perfunctory smile and sheepishly stepped aside but didn't approach. I politely responded, rolling my eyes, giving him the middle finger, and then walked over to Grandma to offer her a birthday gift. My aunt tried to approach to chat, but I deftly moved away, avoiding her. Her expression flickered with a hint of displeasure, but she was an elder, very good at hiding her emotions. A few seconds later, she was all smiles again, inviting everyone to sit down and chatting with the uncles. Not wanting to pay attention to them, I sat in a corner, playing on my phone. About 10 minutes later, a familiar figure unexpectedly appeared at the door. I stared at the girl in front of me, utterly astonished, mouth agape. "Emily, this is Grandma's birthday party, why are you here?" As soon as I finished speaking, my aunt clicked her tongue and said, "Look at you, speaking so disrespectfully." Emily's paternal uncle's wife has a younger sister, and that younger sister's maternal grandmother and your grandma were from the same village. Both grandmothers married and settled here. Today, Emily is here on their behalf to wish your grandma a happy birthday. Why are you asking so many questions? Afterward, my aunt repeated the exact same complicated family relationship she had just explained to me to Grandma. After a long-winded explanation, Grandma only uttered one word, "Huh." Losing all patience, my aunt irritably asked again, "It's nothing, Mom, just smoke your cigarette." Immediately after, my aunt tried to pull Emily, who had just sat down next to me, to sit next to her and Charles. I quickly held Emily's hand and said, "Aunt, what are you doing? This is my colleague, we can sit together just fine. Don't cause any more trouble." Witnessing my resolute attitude, my aunt had no choice but to let go of Emily's hand. However, just a moment later, I don't know how my aunt managed it, but Charles had moved to sit on Emily's left. My aunt looked at me with a triumphant expression and picked up a piece of fish for her bowl. Emily was a reserved person, rarely spoke at the office, a very gentle girl. She said she was forced to come here by her mother this time. My aunt must have boasted to Emily's mother about Charles's family background, mentioning the houses, the rental properties, and the huge savings. Furthermore, the prospect of an 180,000 yuan bride price quickly softened her mother's heart, which is why she forced her daughter to meet Charles. But I knew that Emily already had a boyfriend. I quietly asked her, "Didn't you and your boyfriend date for 5 years?" Emily's eyes welled up. She replied, "My family doesn't approve, they forced us to break up. Now they're pressuring me to get engaged to someone I've never met." I sighed, unsure how to comfort her properly. Our family circumstances were different. Any words from me could hurt her, so it was best to remain silent. Almost all the guests had arrived, and the dishes had been fully served. My aunt picked up a piece of beef, placed it directly in front of her, chewed it, and then began to host the party. Everyone, a moment of silence. Today is our mother's 80th birthday, Grandma Rose. Let's all congratulate her. The uncles and aunts all knew my aunt's character well. As a child, they saw her as quick-witted and spoiled her, who knew she would become increasingly unpleasant with age, but they had no choice. She was, after all, their biological sister, so they could only politely respond. My aunt glanced at the 2 empty seats next to me, deliberately hinting. It seems Uncle Mark and Aunt May said they were stuck in traffic, right? Why didn't they arrange to leave earlier? Today is such an important day, yet they're still late. But it's understandable. Aunt May is known for being very concerned with her appearance. It probably takes her 2 hours just to do her makeup. She's probably still meticulously applying eyeliner and lipstick. They really can't be compared. Almost 50 years old and still likes to wear flashy, blinding green and red outfits. Who knows if it's for Uncle Mark to admire or to seduce a man outside. Her harsh words made me angrily stand up, ready to retort. But at the very next moment, my mother, who had just walked in, grabbed my aunt's hair. My mother yanked hard, making my aunt shriek in pain. "Your husband dresses up even more than I do, constantly reeking of hairspray. What? He won't touch you, so he goes around flirting with loose women outside? You're the only one who knows how to talk, huh? If you utter another disrespectful word, I'll tear your mouth apart." My aunt felt humiliated and screamed, "Tear it then, just tear it. It's not like it hasn't been torn before." As soon as she finished, both women immediately adopted fighting stances. But at that moment, Grandma's hand trembled and she dropped her glass to the floor. Both women immediately stopped, looking towards Grandma. Grandma pretended to be senile and said, "Haven't we started eating yet? I'm hungry, Mom." Only then did my mother release my aunt's hair and walk towards me. As she passed Charles, my mother snorted disdainfully. "Outsiders probably shouldn't sit at the main table, should they? Hey, you, pull up a small table and sit over there for now." Charles looked bewildered, his eyes pleading with my aunt. My aunt, quick-witted, immediately tried to create a private space for the 2 of them. "Emily, why don't you and Charles go sit and eat separately at the table next to us?" Just as Emily was about to stand up, my mother pressed her shoulder down, forcing her to stay and saying, "Emily's paternal uncle's wife has a younger sister, and that younger sister's maternal grandmother and Lena's grandma were from the same village. Both grandmothers married and settled here. How can they be considered strangers?" My aunt was hit by a painful counterattack from my mother. The curse words were at the tip of her tongue, but since this was her own mother's birthday party, she had to endure it. Afterward, she called a waiter to set up a table for Charles. Charles, wanting to secure a wife, also swallowed his pride, offering no resistance or words, occasionally contributing a few stories to make his presence known. During the meal, my aunt tried to interject to make an announcement, but my mother continuously stopped her. My mother kept asking her for tissues, then demanded soup. My aunt swallowed her frustration and tried to finish the meal. As the party neared its end, Charles discreetly signaled to my aunt. This time, my aunt disregarded everything. She stood up, raised her wine glass, and said, "Mother, I wish you a happy birthday." Then, while everyone was raising their glasses, my aunt added, "Oh, that's right, today is not only Mother's 80th birthday, but also the engagement ceremony of our Emily and Charles." My aunt's words had not even finished when Grandma's wine glass shattered. My aunt's face turned red with anger, but wanting to secure this marriage, she stubbornly continued speaking. However, with every sentence my aunt uttered, Grandma smashed another glass. When my aunt could no longer bear it, she loudly asked, "Mother, what are you doing?" "If you can't drink, then don't drink anymore," Grandma coldly snapped. "What are you trying to do? That girl is so well-behaved, how can you bear to marry her off to someone she doesn't like? When you got married back then, did I decide for you? HMPH, I should have decided for you back then you wouldn't have married that kind of man. Your own son doesn't care to work, leaving you to run around everywhere looking for a job, while he philanders and chases other women." As soon as Grandma finished speaking, my aunt fell silent, and the atmosphere became incredibly stifling. By the time most of the guests had left, my aunt's face was still sullen, not saying a word. Charles was truly shameless. Despite the chaos my family had created, he still didn't forget to ask for Emily's phone number. But Emily just smiled and called for a car. Through the car window, I noticed the male driver looked increasingly familiar. On the way home, I kept thinking, the driver was Emily's boyfriend. He often drove her to and from work. They were very affectionate. On Monday, at work, my boss suddenly announced that Emily had resigned. My phone also received a message from her. Lena, my boyfriend and I are going on a business trip to another province. Let's meet again sometime. Thanks for looking out for me the other day. I replied, okay. Just then, I suddenly saw a familiar figure appear right in front of the bank entrance. The manager looked back and asked, "Are you Brian?" I was stunned. Could it be that my aunt had really managed to get her son a job here? Then I heard the boss say, "You're just in time, go wipe the teller counters first. We're about to open." Wipe the counters? Isn't that the cleaner's job? Brian also seemed bewildered. He was dressed in a full suit, standing there dumbfounded, looking a bit awkward. He asked again, "Did you tell me to wipe the counters?" The manager spoke very seriously. "Of course, weren't you introduced by Uncle Zhao? His younger brother has been off work for a week now, and you're the perfect replacement. Hurry up, why are you still standing there staring?" After saying that, the boss turned and whispered to us, "Kids these days, I don't know what they're thinking. They insist on working as janitors, and they even need to pull all sorts of strings to get in." My colleagues and I stifled our laughter, glancing at Brian. At this moment, he was on the phone, complaining to his mother, my aunt. "Mom, is this the job you had to beg so many people to get for me? It's just a cleaning job. I told my friends I got into the bank through the back door. Why are you making me a janitor all of a sudden? What face do I have to show my friends now?" The other end of the line must have said something terrible, making Brian so angry that he sprang up. "What? Are you even my real mother? You told me to just take it slow? I could be a janitor until my next life and still not get anywhere. Become the head of the cleaning department? Or a 5S award winner at the bank? I give up, Mom, I don't care. I think Lena's job is perfectly fine, you get me that position." After saying that, he hung up and turned to look at me, his eyes as if saying my job was about to be taken. Truly uneducated and terrifying. Did he think my job could just be acquired through the back door? This is a bank, not his family's convenience store. It took me 2 years to pass the Certified Public Accountant exam. Furthermore, our bank requires applicants to have at least a bachelor's degree and to be graduates of top universities. With his vocational degree and a major unrelated to finance, on what grounds could he possibly be accepted into our bank? Even with my qualifications, when I first started, I was just an entry-level employee. He was truly daydreaming, thinking he could get whatever he wanted. Busy from dawn till dusk, it wasn't until quitting time that I realized I hadn't seen Brian all day. He must have found the janitorial job too humiliating and quickly fled. But as I was packing my things to go home, I unexpectedly bumped into my aunt. She pulled me aside and softly said, "Lena, I want to discuss something with you." I had a bad feeling and quickly waved my hand, refusing. She immediately grabbed me. "HMPH, this girl, why are you exactly like your mother? So difficult to talk to?" I detested her, giving her a disdainful glance and quickly tried to leave. But she wouldn't let go, flopping down onto the back seat of my electric scooter. No matter what I did, she refused to get off. Finally, I was helpless and had to get off my scooter to hear her true intentions. My aunt quickly flattered me with a few words, then began to speak shamelessly. "Lena, you're smart, capable, and you even got that CCA certificate. This small town isn't suitable for your development. How about I find some acquaintances to arrange a good job for you in the city?" I dared not imagine what kind of job she would find for me. After all, her own son had to pull strings everywhere just to get a janitorial position. I was just her niece. She might arrange for me to be a security guard, a housekeeper, or even a bodyguard, so I flatly refused. "No need, Aunt. I'm doing very well here." But my aunt's intention was not to find me a good job, but to pave the way for her beloved son. She said, "Lena, the manager who arranged the job, said that this bank has enough people, which is why your younger cousin is temporarily working as a cleaner. As soon as a position opens up, he'll immediately take over." So my aunt mumbled, not finishing her sentence. I, of course, understood her meaning. She wanted me to quit my job so her son could take my place. HMPH. Truly, both mother and son were stupid and identical. Did they really think people arranged that job for her son because there were no open positions? They weren't fools. What kind of place is a bank and what kind of person is her son? I glanced around and spoke. "If you really put your son in a middle management position, it won't be long before the bank is completely plundered by him, you'll see. Aunt, I beg you. You have so many relatives, why only torment me?" I chuckled, continuing to say what she wanted. Lena, I'm just looking out for you. I'm not tormenting you at all. Think about it. If your job is moved to the city, you'll find a city boyfriend and change your life. I know a lot of people. If you don't like Charles, I'll introduce someone else to you. Now, I only have one request. Can you quit your job and give your position to my son? I was truly at my wit's end with my aunt. My aunt was the type of person with unparalleled thick skin. Whether soft or hard, nothing affected her. The only thing she feared was not getting her way, but I wasn't easy to deal with either. Back when my aunt didn't have Zalo, I was the one who helped her install it. Because of that, I was the administrator of the family groups and other smaller groups. That day, my aunt suddenly burst into my house, demanding, "Lena, why did you kick me out of the group? Add me back quickly. Grandfather's 3-year death anniversary is coming up, and I still need to take care of it." I remained silent, only continuously tagging Uncle John and Uncle Mark into the group. "Uncle John, I'd like to ask you to take care of Grandfather's 3-year death anniversary. Uncle Mark, please help me prepare Grandfather's guest list. Uncle John, Grandfather liked to listen to folk opera when he was alive. Please help me find the folk opera troupe he liked best back then. Oh, and last year, Aunt Lily prepared too few morning sashes, and the quality wasn't good. Please, Uncle John, ensure everything is prepared thoroughly this year." Uncle John replied to me immediately. "Don't worry, Lena. From now on, all major and minor family matters will be handled by your Uncle John and Uncle Mark. Your aunt has disappointed us too much." Uncle Mark also replied immediately. "Don't worry, Lena. Uncle Mark is the most reliable, not like your aunt, who only knows how to extort money from family members." I replied, "Yes, sir." My aunt, who had just bowed her head, saw our chat. She panicked and asked, "What's the meaning of this? What are you all discussing in the group? What do you mean by me extorting money from family members?" I turned off my phone, feigning indifference. "Why ask me? That's something you brought upon yourself. Oh, and your uncle's new car is really nice. I heard it was bought with Sam's scholarship money from Uncle John's family, right?" The moment I said this, my aunt's face changed. "What are you implying?" "Lena, speak clearly. I can sue you for defamation." I maintained my calm demeanor. "All right, of course, I can explain clearly, but do you want to hear it? Or perhaps you're planning to go to the village head's house to help him with his credit card. Do you need me to use the village loudspeaker to recount your good deeds, Aunt?" Hearing my words, my aunt immediately deflated. Then she asked, "What else do you know?" I replied, "Aunt, I work at the bank, my mother works at the ward committee, and my father works at the ward police station. Think about it, is there anything you've done that all 3 of my family members don't know about?" Finally, I reminded her, "Aunt, it's better to be careful. Just one more step and you'll be in jail." To my surprise, as soon as I finished speaking, my aunt sank to the ground in fear. My mother came home, saw the scene, and her eyes crinkled with laughter. "What happened?" "I've never seen your aunt so miserable." I pouted and walked out of the house. At Grandfather's 3-year death anniversary, my aunt was unusually silent, no longer vying to speak. Everything was handled by Uncle John and Uncle Mark. When all the guests had left, she finally cried and knelt before Grandfather's portrait. "Father, why don't you protect your daughter? Your daughter is about to be ruined." Uncle John and Uncle Mark didn't know what was going on, but seeing their sister crying so pitifully for the first time, they still tried to comfort her. Comforted, my aunt began to lament. "Brother John, about Sam's scholarship, I really didn't mean to. I don't know why I was so confused and made him lose his scholarship. That official just asked me to verify Sam's situation. I told the truth, and who knew the scholarship would be canceled? But my husband buying a car really has nothing to do with Sam's scholarship. It's thanks to us saving and economizing every little bit." Uncle John was naturally kind-hearted and honest. Although he faced difficulties, he was always willing to help his younger brothers and sisters. Yet his family was struggling, and in the end, they were harmed by someone in their own family. He sighed and gently said, "Well, what's done is done. Get up, sister." Hearing Uncle John forgive her, my aunt dared to reveal her true intentions. "Brother John, isn't Chloe working as a lawyer in Shanghai? Could you ask her to come back and help me?" As soon as she finished speaking, everyone present was astonished. The first to speak up in shock was Uncle Mark. "What? What on earth did you do that you need a lawyer?" My aunt hung her head, speechless. It was then that I stepped forward and spoke. "Here's what happened. Aunt Lily, wanting to find a good job for Brian, assisted an official in receiving bribes and hiding illegal money at her home. Recently, the official Aunt Lily frequently dealt with has been investigated, and the money has been discovered. Aunt Lily even hid money in Grandfather's grave. my father had to beg his superiors to wait until after grandfather's 3-year death anniversary before exhuming it. As soon as I finished, a thunderous slap landed on my aunt's face Grandma had struck her. Grandma was so angry she choked, her eyes bloodshot. Finally, she stammered out a sentence, "I have spoiled you too much. You brought this upon yourself." In the end, my aunt had to pay for her crimes, because the amount of illicit money she helped hide was so vast, enough to fill a truck. Moreover, she wasn't well educated and didn't know it was dirty money. She just thought helping a high-ranking official was a great honor. She did whatever people told her to do. Although the official also gave her a sum of money as a reward, that money was, of course, not clean either. So, she had to go to prison. The exact number of years has not yet been formally decided, but the official will at least be sentenced to 50 years. A major contributor, like my aunt, will certainly find it difficult to get out of prison early. After my aunt went to prison, her son, Brian, continued his job as a cleaner at our bank. Before entering prison, my aunt instructed her son, "You must take it slow, persevere, and one day you will succeed." So, every day I saw Brian cleaning, muttering curses. He was young but very obedient to his mother. Seeing his diligence, the branch manager decided to transfer him to be a driver for a bank director. He went to the detention center to ask my aunt if he should accept this job. My aunt said, "Why not? Isn't this a good opportunity?" Then she added, "Years ago, your mother also became acquainted with many people by being a driver for a high-ranking official. I believe you'll do well and have a future. When I get out of prison, I'll find someone to get you a secretary position for a leader." So Brian quit his job at the branch and followed that bank director as a driver. Later, surely following his mother's example, he became very good at dealing with people. Before long, he became the director's trusted assistant and driver. However, this director was known in our circles for being corrupt. Several intern accountants had been ensnared by him and pushed into legal trouble. Yet, he remained unscathed, with a spotless record. But according to internal sources my father knew, he was about to face the consequences. Out of familial affection, my father asked Uncle John to advise Brian to leave this job soon. As long as he wasn't involved in money or illegal activities, he might avoid jail time. But Brian only listened to my aunt, determined to stick by that director, not budging an inch. There was nothing more to do but wait and see. Both mother and son would reunite in prison sooner or later. I just want to say that my aunt was truly a calculating person, planning every step. Didn't this outcome also help her son find a stable job? As for Charles, he's still asking matchmakers to find him a suitable partner. Indeed, there's a lid for every pot, and he'll eventually find someone compatible. Perhaps there are people who like his type. It's just a pity that person isn't me.